Well, hello everyone and welcome. We are thrilled to have you joining us for IFAI Virtual Expo 2020 on this Friday morning. My name is Aaron Monson and I am the Education and Events Manager here at IFAI. I will be helping to host this session as part of Virtual Expo sponsored education. Our session today is titled 6 Ways to Increase Productivity and Reduce Costs in Your Manufacturing Operation. And it's brought to you by Aaron Christensen, Project Manager at YKK Solutions. The session has been generously sponsored by YKK. We are grateful for their support and partnership. You can visit them in Premier Hall 1 by clicking on the Exhibits button on the Virtual Events main navigation menu and scrolling down to Premier Hall 1. As everyone is likely aware, many of us are still working from home. We thank you for bearing with us in the event of any technical challenges that may unexpectedly occur. As a reminder, 48 hours after our session concludes, it'll be available to watch on demand throughout the rest of Virtual Expo and 30 days after Expo concludes. You can find it in our Virtual Event Places Education Auditorium in the same location you accessed our session today. You'll also have the opportunity to submit text questions throughout our presentation today by typing them into the Q&A box of your Zoom control bar. You could also enter your questions into the chat if you prefer. We'll stop a few times along the way to answer questions and also address anything that comes up at the end of the session today. A PDF version of the session slides are also available to you using the handouts link found in this session's page in our education auditorium. If you don't see a handout or can't access it, let us know and we'll send it to you after the session. So with those things out of the way, I will now turn things over to Aaron to get us started. Welcome.
Thanks, Aaron, and welcome to everybody joining. Thanks for coming today, and if you're watching the recording, thanks for joining through that method as well. As Aaron said, my name is also Aaron Christensen. I'm with the YKK Solutions group, and we're a new group inside of YKK USA, and we're really targeted at helping customers solve their problems and really doing creative problem solving. Today, I'm going to look at 6 example projects of ways we've increased productivity and reduced costs in our customers' manufacturing operations. First, let me give some background on YKK in case you're not familiar with us. This is our product portfolio, kind of zoomed out from a high level. If you know anything about us, you might know us for our zippers. And we make all sorts of different kinds that kind of fall into 3 main categories of coil zipper, metal zipper, and Islon zipper. Within those 3 categories, we have a lot of different variations on those themes. That's kind of the high level. You may or may not know that we also participate in a number of other industries. Among them, hook and loop. We do woven loop, we do woven hook, we also do extruded hook. We also have a whole factory dedicated to webbing weaving, and they also do elastics. We also have a factory dedicated to plastic notions. So this is a lot of injected molded parts, things like cord stoppers, buckles, adjusters, hooks, things of that nature. And again, we have another factory dedicated to snap and button fasteners. That includes things like rivets, buttons, eyelets, and snaps. So you might think of YKK as just a product, cataloged product supplier, but we're really willing to innovate on these products. And we go beyond just the pages of the catalog. As you can imagine, with years of experience in all these different industries, we have developed capabilities and technical expertise in these areas that are associated with those products. This includes wire manufacturing and forming. With metals, we do stamping, die casting, finishing, and plating. On the textile side, we do weaving and knitting and dyeing. And as I mentioned before, with plastics, we do extrusion, we do injection molding as well. We've also gotten involved with fabrication and assemblies. And you might know that YKK is completely vertically integrated. We make all of our own machinery. And this allows us to innovate a lot, as you can imagine. We also So we keep a lot of that technology in-house for our competitive advantage. We also have a group that's designated for making machinery and technology that we share with our customers. So we do machinery internally and externally. Like I said, don't think of YKK as just a provider of a part that you find in the catalog. We have all of this knowledge, all of this expertise, and we can develop something new for you in these areas if you have a need. And that's where the YKK Solutions Group really comes in. We're a cross-functional team. And like I said, we're really targeted at complex problems and creative problem solving. The three core members of the team, myself, Brian, and Steven, we come from different parts within YKK. And it's our job to coordinate between all those different knowledge centers that I mentioned before. As you can imagine, we're a big company. There's a lot of different people in different areas. But this is a unique set of skills that we have under our roof, and it's our job to bring all those things together. When a customer has a problem, we want to consider every possibility to get them the solution that satisfies them. So now I'd like to take a poll. As I mentioned, we've got 6 example projects today, and they fall into these kind of 4 categories of improvements for customers. So if you want, go ahead and vote, and we'll start with the ones that have the most interest. So we've got process improvement, custom machinery, assembly service, and collaborative development. All right, looks like we have a pretty strong preference for process improvement. We've got a vote for custom machinery and also collaborative development. So that's good. We'll start with process improvement, then we'll go through to custom machinery, and I'll skip assembly, go to collaborative development, and if we have time, we can circle back to assembly service. So this is our first example. We have 2 examples in the process improvement category. In this case, we are looking at a automotive seat manufacturer. There's actually not just one customer. This is a solution that we've rolled out to many of them. So the pain points that these customers have, it's often redundant processes and really large inventories in their factories. So you can imagine all the different types of cars there are out there. They've all got different designs. And then even within one type of vehicle, there are many different designs in the interior, in the seats. So this ends up, the result is there's a lot of redundant processes and large inventories that need to be managed because there's all these different designs, all these different parts are coming through to fulfill the demand for these vehicles. So YKK has a couple areas where we've helped out in this situation. One of them is the SO 200 machine. What this is really good for is reducing processes, usually from 2 to 1, and increasing output, and streamlining processes and reducing SKUs. So the way the SO 200 machine works is it automatically feeds zipper in from a spool or from a continuous box. And the operator just picks up panels and feeds them into the sewing machine. And it's very speedy. It's very easy. It's all done in one spot. And the productivity of a factory can rise by implementing the SO 200. Instead of maybe having 2 phases, 2 operations for 1 zipper sew, it can be done at the same time. And because of the automatic material feeding, once the operator gets it in to the machine, it goes away through the machine, very steady feed, and the quality is really high. And again, because we're using a continuous zipper in this example, the SKU and the warehouse overhead associated with those designs are improved. So that's one area where we have provided a solution to this industry. The other is the YKK PAL1M machine. And this is more focused on reducing inventory and SKUs. So this machine, again, takes continuous zipper, and it's not a sewing operation, but if you're not using a continuous system, you need to have your zipper cut to length. And that's what this machine does. So it'll take sliders, it'll take continuous chain, you feed them both into the machine, and spits out bundles of cut zippers. So that's the way your process is set up. We have a solution there as well. Again, this is really great for customers because it alleviates a logistical and warehouse headache. If something comes up and you realize you haven't ordered the product you need, well, it's not a big deal. You can just go over to your PAL1M at the beginning of the shift, fire it up, put in the length you need, and you'll be able to manage your inventory very effectively, very quickly, without having to go outside of your own four walls. Here's another example. This is a tactical gear manufacturer. They make bags and vests for the military and for the police. Now we're looking at I'm talking about a specific product line in this example. The customer was having really slow throughput. It was a difficult and manual process. In this example, there were about 6 different stations where the product would have to move between the different stations. The operator would move with the product. Every operation is a little bit different. There's a lot to manage there, and it was really slowing them down. YKK again introduced SO 200. This was actually a dual SO 200 system. There were 2 of them in the operation, and this solved a lot of problems for them. It de-skilled their operation. These 2 machines were linked together, so the only thing the operator had to do now, instead of moving between different complicated processes, they just sit at one station. They would feed in the material. Like I said, the zipper would go into the machine. The operator would put in the panels, and that was it. It would go through the first SO 200 machine, and then it would automatically feed to the second SO 200 machine without any operator intervention. So as you can imagine, that's going to be a de-skill, because you don't have to move with the product. You don't have to manually touch the product later in the system. Quality was made more consistent, and the throughput was increased dramatically. The customer was spending 40 hours to meet their demand, and after this system was implemented, it would only take them 4 hours to do that same amount of production. That's about a 90% labor reduction. Those operators can now bring value elsewhere in the plant or on another product line, for example. I also want to point out that YKK was really rapid in developing the system with the customer. Once we started the analysis on the problem, it only took us 3 weeks to get it finished, and then we brought it to their plant. Those are the 2 process improvement examples that I have. I think I saw a question come in. If you do have more questions, let us know in the Q&A bar.
We do have one question, and this question is from Sandy Sterner. And Sandy asks, does the PAL1M make jacket zippers with the box end?
That is a good question, Sandy. In this example, we do not in the automotive industry, because the automotive industry doesn't need that, but I understand your question is maybe about your facility. I'm not sure about the box end. We have a variety of different machinery. That might be something that we could develop for you if we don't already have it. But if you can, I'll give a link at the end. You can reach out to us, and we can talk more about your specific application.
Looks like that's it on the questions for now.
Great. Keep them coming in. We get little notifications when they come in, folks, so we'll do our best to answer them. I think next on the poll results was custom machinery. This customer was a contract manufacturer for major jeans brands. And in this case, we were looking at the fly attachment process. They were having a lot of issues in this department. Their machinery was really sensitive, and they were getting poor machinery uptime because they kept on having to stop the operation to adjust their machines. It was also highly manual, and they were getting inconsistent quality. And also because of the design of the process, they were consistently having waste with the zippers. Also waste, with the bad quality, but also with the zipper just from inherent in the design of the system. So what YKK did in this example, we developed a pair of machines to improve this process for the customer. The first was the jeans auto fly attaching machine, which automatically aligns the fly, and the flex line machine handles kind of the post-processing of the zipper. So this is a continuous chain example. Jaffa does the sewing, and flex line will, gap the zipper and do the rest of the processing associated with that. Again, this is another improvement on efficiency and quality, and reduced waste, reduced labor. Labor here was cut in half. I think that's pretty typical for the projects that we do with the YKK Solutions group. I see a lot of projects where we cut labor in half, sometimes more. Obviously, we've seen an example of even more than that, but I think 50% is a pretty normal reduction for our projects. And again, this is also an inventory improvement example, because instead of using cut zippers, you can now use continuous chain and reduce your SKUs with this setup. I think we'll have time to go through everything, but I will jump to the next topic, which was collaborative development, unless there are any questions coming through. I don't see any.
Nope, not at this time.
All right, these are a couple of my favorite examples. So in this case, again, we're back in the automotive industry, but this is not a seating application. The customer, the manufacturer, came to us and they had a design challenge. It was getting close to full-scale production, and in their pre-production builds, they had identified some problems with some pieces not staying in place in the vehicle. So it was a design challenge. They brought us a concept and asked us if we could help them out finalizing the design and then ultimately supplying the product. And this is a YKK engineering manufacturing feat. We ended up developing a turnkey product solution from scratch. We started over on the design. There were some metal clasps and some other components that we were able to eliminate from the original design. And this was a webbing solution, an elastic. We were able to take a standard YKK product and put it to use in this application. We also engineered some special sewing so that the piece would perform as it needed to and achieve that task of keeping the parts in place in the vehicle. Ultimately, we ended up carrying out assembly for the customer as well. We were able to do everything in-house. So this is another good example of YKK being speedy and helping out a customer when they were in a bind. This next example of collaborative development is probably my favorite case study out of all of them today. The customer was not automotive, was not jeans, was not textile. This is a medical products company that made ankle braces. Basically what was going on was they were bringing out a new project, a new program, and replacing an old one that they had in the market. Their pain points, initially they just came to us looking for a product. Like I said before, they looked at the catalog and saw our capabilities and came to us for some injection molded parts. So we did that. We developed some new products for them and gave them what they needed. But we never just, we always want to know the context. We never just focus on our part. We want to see the bigger picture of what's going on with our customers' products. We want to understand the context that we're putting our products into. And with that, we found that there were more needs that the customer had. So we did more product development, not only on the injection molding side, but also on the textile side, on the hook and loop side. We did some custom parts for them. And we also were able to supply rivets. So this is a great example of all of those different parts of YKK coming together to bring a satisfying solution to the customer. Now, originally the plan was to have the assembly done by a third party, but some issues came up for whatever reason, and YKK stepped up to the plate and said, you know what, we can do this assembly. And that's what we did. So in addition to those 50 custom parts that we made for this bill of materials on this ankle brace, we also provided assembly, which included consumer packaging. So the way it looks on the shelf is the way it was coming out of our factory. And that's a huge advantage for our customer. They don't have to worry about managing the logistics. You know, they just order one part to us, to YKK, and we ship them the final product in consumer packaging. And again, this is an FDA approved product, so we have that capability as well. This customer was really satisfied with the solution, and we ended up doing more projects with them later. I'm not seeing any more questions, so I will go to the final category here, which is assembly service. And we kind of got a taste of that on the last example. So we're back to automotive, we're back in seating. In this case, again, the customer approached us, looking for a product, but they also were having some supply chain issues. So specifically, they were looking for magnets. And again, YKK is not just going to, turn a blind eye. We want to understand the whole context of the product. We want to know where our products are going. We want to understand so that we can give the best possible product, and if applicable, the best possible services. So we did lots of development with this customer. We ended up developing some brand new components for them. And again, they were having issues with supply chain and managing the logistics of this component. So we said, okay, we'll take care of that for you. We do the assembly in our facility. So in the previous case, all those products were YKK supplied. In this case, they aren't. We do many of the products, but we're also able to take on the assembly, even if it's not 100% YKK product. The customer was really happy with this final solution, and it was really all about service. We did a lot of iteration on the designs for them, and it ended up working out really well. Those are the examples that I have for today. I want to thank you all for listening. We really want to hear from you. What are your pain points? How can we help you succeed? If you don't want to talk today in the Q&A that we have coming up, that's fine. You can shoot us an email at solutions@ykk-usa.com, or you can check us out on our website where all of these case studies are posted. You can go out and find them. And we also have a contact form on that homepage. That address is go.ykknorthamerica.com/solutions. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to take them now.
Okay, well, at this point, I don't see any other additional questions. Aaron, did you have anything else that you want to add? Otherwise, I can go ahead and take us out.
If you don't end up going to the website, you can go check out our booth. We're staffing it all day, every day. So we'll be there next week. I'll be there next week on Monday and Wednesday. If you want to come drop me a line and we can start a conversation, that's just another option for you there.
Great. Okay. Well, still no questions, but if I see anything else pop up before we sign off here, I'll let you know. But I want to say thank you very much to Aaron Christensen for leading our session today. As he mentioned, of course, if you have any questions, there's an email address and a URL there for you to visit. I've also put a direct link to YKK's exhibitor booth in the chat. So you can obviously follow up with Aaron and the team in a number of ways. And as a reminder, of course, these slides are available as a handout in the education auditorium under this session's listing. So you can download that in case you don't, screenshot or write down the email address and URL there. So a link to a brief survey should also appear shortly in the chat window. We hope you'll take a few minutes to complete it. Your honest feedback helps us continue to provide quality education and sessions like this for all IFAI events. A couple other things, remember to check out all of the other exciting features and programming at IFAI's Virtual Expo. Some things of note, we have over 100 exhibiting companies to browse and network with. We have exhibitor-specific networking lounges. We have our play and demo zone for on-demand product demo videos. Access to our morning yoga sessions, the live puppy cam, which sounds like a great thing to do on a Friday. And of course, access to some legacy webinar content, IFAI webinar content. We have nearly 50 hours of old webinars open and free to IFAI attendees. Also for all things IFAI, exhibit sales for future years, membership information, you can check out our virtual hub located under the exhibits drop-down menu in our main lobby. Okay, well, I don't see any other questions. So with that said, another thank you to Aaron Christensen of YKK Solutions. Once again, my name is Aaron Munson, and I am the Education and Events Manager here at IFAI. We hope you've enjoyed this session, and we look forward to engaging with you during the rest of IFAI Virtual Expo 2020. Hope everyone has a great Friday. Thanks, and see you later.